Hi guys! So in this video I'm going to be talking about art school, since this is a question that I have gotten a lot on all my social media over the years. You know, should I go to art school? Do you recommend art school? What art school do you go to? Do you enjoy it? All that kind of stuff. So I'm going to try and answer as best as I can in this video my perspective on art school. And obviously you shouldn't take my thoughts / advice, whatever, as concrete fact, because, you know, it's different for every individual artist and every individual art school, and whether it fits or doesn't fit depends on the attitude of the person. And anyway, I'll get into it, but basically, yeah, don't take my word as, you know, whatever. So to get started, I'm in my last year of art school now. I'm doing a major called Photography and Electronic Arts, which is basically just for people that want to include technology in their fine art degree. So my school here is quite traditional, I guess you could say. We have the painting department, the sculpture department, jewellery, printmaking, that kind of thing. So photography and electronic arts is basically the place for people that are interested in something to do with technology or digital or moving image or anything to do with technology, basically. Which is good for someone like me who is interested in digital, drawing, painting and animation. So the reasons that I personally went to art school were because I have always been an academic person, and I went to a very academic high school. So going to a tertiary institution was kind of a given for me, and then I was very passionate about art since, you know, as long as I can remember, basically. But when I was about 15, I decided, you know, this is what I want to do, because I realized I was good at it and I really enjoyed it, and I just couldn't imagine my life without art. So I guess it was kind of an easy decision for me. And the art school in my town, we went to the open day, and I looked around and I was like, wow, like this is so cool. All these people in one space that are interested in what I'm interested in, and all of the facilities looked really cool. You know, it was just like a wealth of information and new stuff that I was really excited by. So I guess it was kind of a given. So I guess I'll go over kind of the good things about art school first. You really get a context for the art world. I'm trying to think of a non-pretentious way to say that, but basically, unless you're really submerged in that culture and surrounded by people that are also in it, it's very hard to get that context. You know, all of the art history that came before us and the art industry now, and like all these different artists are in this sort of web that is very difficult to get a grasp of unless you submerge yourself into it, basically. And that's why the staff are very important, because they are people, at least at my school, who are practicing within the art industry. So yeah, there's a lot to learn basically from those kinds of people. So another good thing about art school, my art school here, is that I learnt to think a lot more analytically about art in general, but also my own work, and learn how to think conceptually, which is, yeah, I don't know, it's so hard to explain. I guess what I'm trying to say is thinking about art and talking about it in more ways than just, yeah, that looks cool, I like that, or I don't like that. I guess that's what I'm trying to say, which is very funny that I'm trying to explain that I learned to be more articulate, and while I'm saying it I sound really stupid. Anyway, and like I said before, the facilities of art schools are amazing and, in my opinion, irreplaceable. I don't really feel the need to explain this one too much further, because it's kind of obvious. Like, you're not going to get access to those kinds of facilities working or learning from home. And also, of course, the staff, like I said before, are not the only inspiring people at art school. There's the students that you're surrounded by as well, and they will be just as inspiring to you as the staff are, and they will be also the ones that give you a sense of competition, which I know is like maybe a problematic thing to say within an art context, because, you know, we're all trying to improve and it's all like benevolent thing, but I personally think that it's kind of important to have that sense of competition, because then you have something to challenge you and something to keep raising the bar and something to keep pushing you to improve. So anyway, that's what I think about it, and it's just really valuable to have people out there in your class that are like-minded and inspire you, and you can give each other ideas, and it's just like a really fulfilling community. The other thing that art school gave me was the opportunity to go on exchange. So I went for half a year last year, as many of you will know, to the Netherlands, and I went to study animation at the HKU. And that was a completely different atmosphere to my art school here, so I'll explain why. Basically, my art school here, like I said before, is very traditional. It's very fine arts focused, very focused on the gallery. And the HKU is a little bit more commercially minded, I guess. They're much more interested in the industry to do with animation and moving image and collaborating across projects in a more industry focused way. So apart from that, I'll give you a few other differences that I noticed. The HKU is based in Utrecht, which is like a much bigger city than Dunedin, which is where I live here. So the entry requirements, like the application requirements for getting into the course, were much higher than the ones here, which means that the students that you get in the class are of a much more high level and are much more ambitious and hardworking than ones that you would get here. Which means that what I was talking about before, the atmosphere of like inspiring each other and becoming more ambitious and pushing each other to improve, was much better and more fruitful in the Netherlands, I found, than it was here. And I worked much harder, and I made so much more work in that period of time than I have in my whole degree here, because of that environment. The other thing that I noticed is that the HKU was a much more technique focused school, so they were really teaching you skills, whereas at the art school here it was more focused around your art practice and your position as an artist in the context of like art history and the formal aspect of the art world, and also how to think more conceptually about your work. And it was much more about the idea and the concept within your work rather than the execution of it, although that is also important. At the HKU, the execution of it was what was pushed a lot more. And neither of those is a bad thing, but it was like the most fundamental difference between the two schools that I noticed, and something that people should keep in mind if they're applying for art schools is which of those, or which combination of those, would be most suited for you. I personally enjoyed both. Starting at the sort of more idea focused position at the school here was very valuable for me because it made me think about my work in a much more heightened way, and then improving the skills at the HKU was very useful because then I could take that and then use it in my practice here. I'm using a lot of like arty bullshit right now, but I'm trying to explain it the best I can. I'm really sorry. At the HKU there are a lot more like quicker projects, or just a lot more subjects at the same time, a lot more projects at the same time, which I really enjoyed because it's nice to keep jumping from thing to thing, and that was really useful for me as someone who overthinks their work a lot and overanalyzes everything. If you're forced to just make things in quick succession, you don't have the opportunity to psych yourself out about it, whereas at the art school here it's the opposite, and everything is very not slow, but the projects are bigger and more elongated, which gives you more time to develop them and experiment along the way. So I think I've sort of touched on everything that I wanted to about the pros and cons of art school and the different aspects of that. In general, it's just the best place to meet lifelong friends and really challenge yourself. I'll talk very briefly about like my thoughts on self-taught artists, because that's kind of the alternative to going to art school and going to an institution, is to teach yourself. The term self-taught kind of bothers me a lot because no one's self-taught, you know? Even if you're teaching yourself from the internet, there's people out there who put that information online, who have learnt that and are now teaching other people, and you're learning from other people. I guess that there's like a thing of like pride in saying that you're self-taught and that you didn't need anyone else, and there's that whole culture behind like, oh, I've never been to a class before. But I just don't see the point of being like, or sort of proud of that, because if you're an artist who wants to improve and who wants to be the best, then like why is it a problem using all of the like opportunities and all of the resources that you can, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, so self-taught artists, I personally think that there's less of a challenge. You're not challenging yourself because all of the things that you're teaching yourself you're looking for online or from books. So I feel like the way you're learning is less, like it's a lot more predictable, and you can't, it's harder to come across things by mistake and maybe find strengths in yourself and your work where you didn't expect, because everything that you're teaching yourself is like what you're looking for. Yeah. I hope I covered everything. I kind of tried to like write some notes so I wouldn't forget anything, but if you still have questions about art school or anything else that are a little bit more specific, then you can leave those in the comments and I'd be happy to answer them. So yeah, thank you for watching. I've almost finished my sketchbook. I know I've been saying this for like months, but I really have almost finished it, so probably the next video that I upload will be sketchbook door number 3. Cool. And also, some of you may know this as well, while I was on exchange last year I also met my boyfriend Arnold, and he is an animator as well, so I'll leave his links in the description, and he is coming to visit me next week on Wednesday, so we might do some videos together. If you have any questions for us in terms of like animation and art, but also, you know, if you have questions about long distance relationships, I don't know, you can leave those as well, and we might do a Q&A or something like that. So alright, bye!